Hello everyone, welcome to the November, the end of the November. Just for the newbies and for keeping of the house or whatever. I usually take a temperature of the collective and deliver certain messages about what we're going through on an energetic, emotional and physical level. So how is it all affecting us, all this shift in consciousness and all these changes the earth is going through on the weekly basis, but it is more as a report. It's not like a prediction, or this is the way it is happening for everyone, because everyone is on a different level of the understanding of the things. But the energy updates are always like that. I checked the astrology. The next year, I'm attending some class and some workshop in a couple of days. So I will know a little bit more how is it gonna playing out for us on an astrological level. But at the moment, if you have a look on the schematic of what I posted last time, that is from the book of the Voyagers from Ashayana Dean. It is absolutely a profound material, and I don't know if you watched the video of the guy who spoke about the axis where we at the moment, and on the Fibonacci spiral and the dark overlay. If you have a look, if you watched the entire video, it is absolutely true that her material is the most profound material I ever read so far, and I never met anyone who actually read it. And I didn't read it all. I just diving into it bit by bit because it's absolutely phenomenal. It's vast. There is no way you can think that it's not true. There is something inside of you knows that everything you're reading is the real history of Earth, the real history of how the DNA was crossed. Everything in those pages is just absolutely mind-blowing. The most amazing material ever written on the entire Earth plane, absolutely. If you have a look on that schematic, it is a map. What I realized a couple of days, I will speak as well about what is happening in the body, because we have a lot of pain in the body at the moment. But I want to speak a little bit about that 7 axis, because it's 2023. We are finishing off, we are wrapping things up. He speaks about 7 trumpets as well in that video. I did this drawing about the trumpets, and I name it "There Are No Trumpets" anymore, this year practically. But I was picking this up a couple of years ago. If you're a meditator, and especially a people like me who had a Kundalini awakening, for example, you are perceiving a lot of the things that are happening way ahead of a time. And I remember one of my friends is always saying that I'm a little bit ahead of a time. But if you have a look on that on that map, I call it a map because for me, when I look on it, that material is extremely complex from Ashayana, because it's all full of, it's a mechanics. There is a system, there is a mechanics of how this structure works. And that's why it's not about believing or comprehending or having a perspective, or it's not about it. If you understand how the reality works, how it functions, you have a way bigger possibility to actually navigate the system, because and learn the rules, because there are certain laws that this mechanism works on, so which are not, let's say, breakable. So the same is, let's say, that's why they had to put a lock on our energy system to lock us in. So if you have a look on that map, and the Fibonacci spiral is bringing everyone to the Phantom Earth with all the fallen angelics, The other spiral is there where we want to be. At the moment, they are overlapping each other. So you will be experiencing extremes, but you will be experiencing as well the magic. Okay, I have so much magic, and I'm saying that like since the start of the year. And even my dog died, and I went for the grave, and then I had to then we adopted another dog. It's another challenge, reinforcement of my cage, I call it now, because there were interferences. We are going through ginormous interferences. That's one theme of the month, and it's gonna continue, because when the timelines are overlapping like that, and it's not just two timelines, you have to understand that in that timeline is an infinite amount of the possibilities, and there is infinite amount of the possibilities in there, and there is as well something probably in between, like at the transitioning point when they are splitting really wide from each other. So 2024, if you think about it, we are now axis 7, 2023, right? That's number 7. The moment we reach into axis 8, or axis, there's not gonna be axis, because when we reach that field, and when the timeline starts splitting, we're gonna be fluctuating again. But the thing is that I think that is not gonna be even possible for you to fluctuate. If you are gonna be more on the spectrum of the higher frequency, the lower frequency will not be able to even like pull you in that direction. So at the moment you will be experiencing both, and you will be experiencing what you have to let go of. And the prediction we know, let's say Bashar predicted the contact for the entire Earth plane 2026, 2027. Now we know, when you have a look on it, and it on the map, that is overlapping. So we are preparing practically and seeing everything what is playing out in our reality, and we are seeing both. We are seeing the magic, and we are seeing as well the illusions and the limitations we are playing in. And we have to get constantly pulling ourselves out of the densities. So the message I got for the rest of the year is the choices. And the pain in the body is ginormous. I am crucified. I feel like somebody is taking me by the tail, the bone tail, and slamming me like this, and doing this with me constantly. And my daughter was as well saying that she doesn't feel the ground, and I was telling her that we were talking about it, like today we were talking about like unbelievable stuff, like with a 9-year-old, like what, 8.5, talking about like DNA. She was like, oh yeah, you mean DNA? And I was like, what? I was telling her about the timeline splitting. Sometimes I talk with her like just as she's another entity. Sometimes it is interesting how the kids are taking it in, because they understand that what they are learning at school is not what the mom is telling them all the time at home. So she's like, why you know all these things? And I was like, well, what about your light beings? Do you have your light beings? And she says, yeah, I don't see them much anymore. And then she says, well, I see some numbers. And I was like, what? So I write the numbers, what she sees. Like I have like these profound experiences as well. So another aspect what is playing out at the moment is that all the magic and all the multidimensionality is undeniable. And even when you meet a stranger, you are not able to not showing that part. I met this stranger here, like on the field with the dog. Our dogs were playing out together. And within a couple of times we bumped to each other like that. it was absolutely clear that like that person just needs a little bit like a different, like more information on that level, because like he was interested in astro travel and he did a ayahuasca, and you know, people are open to the other side. We're talking about a first memory and how to come into this realm. It's like mind blowing that like honestly, like these lines, these two timelines, when they are intersecting at the moment the way they are, you are having the portion of the magic too. You just have to be able to find it. You have to constantly choose to seeing it constantly. And I mean, maybe I'm the person who is always gonna bring that magic to you, because like in no matter the challenges, and you know, I went through ginormous challenges, like, you know, people from which are not part of this path, which is practically nobody from my family lineage in here, is not in my life, and I'm a loner. So I know how crazy it gets. Like it gets lonely, and it gets super challenging, like, you know, so there is a lot of pain in the body as well on the top of that, and we toxicity we constantly purge, you know, it's not easy. So hopefully like you have a little bit of as well the magic, and if not, then command your reality. You will have to from now on, moving now on to the 2024. That's why everybody is gonna be talking about it. They are gonna be launching the courses. There is gonna be programs that you can get yourself into to clean yourself energetically from all the densities. And we have to unplug from that structure, practically from the Fibonacci spiral. So we have to somehow reinvent the wheel. And if I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, okay, so what I'm good at, because I failed so many times and I had to reinvent myself many times. I had many jobs, I had many professions, and I'm good in reinventing myself, because like I see as well the possibility in all the destruction, or all the limitations. When there are a lot of limitations, or something is breaking apart, there's just a possibility of something new being created. And it's always like destruction and, you know, creation. It goes hand in hand, polarities. So we will have to do something from now on. And I mean, that's not optional anymore. When I say have to, I hate to use this word. But honestly, like, let's say spiritual practices are no longer optional. So if you don't have one, you have to get one first, because like in any type of type of, let's say, yogic traditions, very old yogic traditions, the ancient ones, they all had the practices that they were using to clear the vessel, using all the field techniques to remove the energies, rebalancing the system. They were all using it because we were using it because we need it as humans. The fact that we don't have it now doesn't mean that we have to get back to it, because it's no longer optional. The evolution demands it. It's like, come on guys, like, go on, like, you have to be using the shit, like, you know, you have to use the system the right way. So if we are like crossing to the 8 practically, you know, field, then it's gonna be impossible for you to keep the old. Everything old will have to go, and you will have to really, I mean, unless you don't want to join the other party, there is gonna be probably something in between that is gonna be holding, like, you know, so you can actually still, it's not gonna be like a snap, like, you know, even it was a snap. Actually, the video called the snap of the timelines. And what I am experiencing is the floating. I'm feeling it physically. My root chakra spins like crazy, guys, these days. Like, the pain in the body is unbelievable. Last week there was a lot of sexual energy, so this kind of a horny, you know, I want to go and fuck with someone sort of energy. Heart, for example. I was dealing with the Jehovian seal, what the guy is talking about in the video. I was dealing with it. It's under the shoulder blade. Was very painful, and it's not a one-time job, so you have to do it like a couple of times. I'm using some field techniques from the book of Voyagers, which was written by the Hana. I know the material is really complex, but I can share maybe how the technique works, but I still did not master it. And I'm still not on the end, like I still feel like that I'm doing something wrong with it. So I am not gonna share it today. Maybe in the next video I'm gonna share it. But you can practically clear anything in there, but you just do it consciously. Like you just direct your consciousness into the place where you have a pain, and you just ask your subconscious to show you the images. What is it? If you need to know, that to show you. If it doesn't need to know, to remove it and work with your inner being. He has the capacity to do it. You have the capacity to do it. You don't need any other healer or something to do that. You don't. You can use different type of techniques. I tried all kind of stuff, but I found the technique from Ashayana Dean very helpful. It's a technique that you imagine the David star above your head, and you breathe it in, and you breathe it into your third eye, and then you breathe it out down under your feet, and you activate the Maharic field. I know a little bit the terms from yoga because it's very similar, the way their technology works. So for me it's easy, but it's more my brain is more scientific. I'm more wired into that direction, so for some of you it might be very difficult. But what you just move the energy. What I do, or what I did before, was just I would say, okay, let's plug myself in and let's plug myself out up there. So you plug yourself into the Maharic field of earth, and download the energy from there, and you plug yourself into the galactic core up, and like you just like, you move the energy, you restructure. You can do that just by visualizing, for simplicity. But believe me, if you follow those steps in that book, you will feel the sensations in the body much more accurate. It's much more precise. It's more, you really feel the parts. You feel everything. How is it described? You feel it inside of you as a event happening in the chakra points. So I highly recommend you get the book. I leave the link down below. It's called The Voyagers. It's extremely complex. So, Sunday read. Sunday read. You just flip through it and find something you might be interested in, because there is everything. Fall of the Metatron, all the seeding of the earth, all the genetics are in there. I recommended it, but the people can't comprehend it. It's too complex for them. Most of the people can't take it. So, I be like sharing bit by bit, and I will be trying to simplify it probably for you, because for me it's not that difficult to understand it, because I did yoga a lot, so that system is very similar. So I understand it. Lot of pain in the body. We have to have practices, so you have to learn how to move the energy and transmute it. It's not optional anymore. You have to have practices. It's gonna be like number one thing from now on. There is a lot of interferences. You have to removing any type of like constantly checking yourself up. We are being constantly attacked. We are being constantly scrambled. Technology doesn't work very well. My shops doesn't work very well. I couldn't yesterday load my Printify store. We are being held, or we are being sabotaged at the moment so much, like us who are on the other line, because the lines are overlapping. So you have to be able to see through it, and you have to still sort of, we are in this phase of, you have to continue through the difficulties, pushing through the difficulties, like, but not pushing. It's more like pushing with the fact that you are understanding what is happening really with Earth, which is a plane, which is a realm, with what is playing out, like with those timelines, like understanding how reality is created and what we are actually doing here. It's the only way how we can actually deal with it, and be able to reinvent the wheel. Extremes. Another thing what is happening planetary is the Rahu and Ketu is moving. I spoke about it last time. It's gonna move permanently the end of the month, and it's gonna stay there for a year and a half. So at the moment we are having extremes in addictions, because Rahu loves to consume blindly, just like munch, without digesting the stuff. So as well, processing things are gonna take you a little bit longer. So take a pull away from the internet world as well would be beneficial. Spending more time in nature, doing the regular human stuff. I baked the strudel yesterday, and did a soup, which I didn't do for quite some time. My mom's soup. So try to stay. It's no longer about being happy or what, but it's just try to stay in the positive frequency as much as you can, and do the best as you can anyway, because you always do just the best, so there is no right or wrong. But we are practically now in the phase when we are gonna be falling hard as well. Challenges are gonna be extreme. There is a lot of talk, what I heard, I'm not experiencing it, but I can share this. Apart from the ginormous pain in the body and ginormous like interferences that we have to work with, refusing the responsibility to being the creator of your reality is gonna be the number one like challenge from now on. Everything what is playing out for you in your reality are your thought forms, mostly. It's not black and white, okay? It's of course you are there sometimes for the people to learn their lesson, but you wouldn't know that. It's a very different feeling when you are there for someone to just that person needed the kick, or that the person needed to move on and needed to bump into you to just, let's say, normalize certain things like trauma, or open up, give them the book, open up them for Dolores Cannon material or stuff like that. You would know. But most of the time the challenges what you are in are are triggering you, for example, are your own thought forms. And your thought forms are stuck in the body, in your energy field. There is a technique you can fry them out. You just dive into them. That you quiet yourself down, you breathe in, you imagine the white light coming from the galactic center that is shining through the system, through every cell of your body. Practically the thought forms are stuck on your cells as well. So it's not easy to just completely restructure yourself, rebalance, or like do things. So you have to start to be more aware of your own hologram and what is playing in. Okay, here comes I'm playing a victim again, because this is, let's say, for me, coming from the victimhood lineage. It's very common, but now I'm like, okay, I'm playing a victim again, so let's, like, pull myself out of it. But the moment you're aware of it, you just keep choosing a different things. But the thought forms are stuck there. If there is a pain in the body, that is a distortion. And we were going through the Jehovian seal, which are under the shoulder blade. It is linked to foot, the entire left part of the neck. There are seals here. I will post diagram in here where you can see all the Jehovian seals that were placed on the chakra system, on the energy system, and that's what you need to break first. Okay, this distorted overlay needs to be removed first. And not, I'm doing this for ages, for years. I don't think that it is so easy to remove it just like that, like, okay, let's remove it, bang, done. No, that you would probably have to take like a 2-3 years off from the work to be able to remove it, and work consciously every day with it. And you will need to do it with your inner being, not with a healer. Okay, you would have to sort of do it by yourself, because the thing is, I'm not saying that all the healers are bad. The thing is that those changes are not permanent. So even though if you think that you dealt with addictions, you didn't. Because at the moment, the addictions are playing out like crazy, like absolutely crazy. Overeating, munching, salty, tasty, I don't know, sweet for some people. Wrong time in a different, in a day. Dealing with emotional stuff by, like, alcohol, smoking, you name it. Drugs, soft drugs, hard drugs, hopefully not. People doing more ayahuasca, people are getting more like even I found myself like, my God, I'm using the spiritual practice for bypassing at the moment. Wow, I didn't see that. Because I suddenly find myself, I get so enough, I'm so tired, so I want to get out, I want to leave. And I realized that actually I started to use certain spiritual practices for, as like, get out from the body and bye. So you will find yourself in all sort of like compulsive behaviors at the moment because of the Rahu Ketu, and this is gonna be playing out for a year and a half, guys. So it is not gonna be an easy ride. So that's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, spiritual practices are no longer optional. So first thing in the morning when you wake up, you have to have a solid practice, solid one, and you will have to as well energize the body, and you will have to stretch your spine in all the directions. That means yoga no matter what. Like, I mean, that system is still the best. And mantras has to be there, sound has to be there. Binaural beats are brilliant. If you can't move, you will find yourself in a situation that you will not be able to do the yoga. You will be so sore or so sick that you will not be able to breathe, for example. The spiritual practices are always, sometimes there is a time when they are taken away from you, to see how you do without them, how dependent you are, if you're really bypassing or not. So, I love the yoga stuff I have, and I have phenomenal success as well with binaural beats and with shadow work, because the moment I get stuck in some spot, I have to reinvent myself. So I have a lot of tools. So I am trying to pump the web with all the handy stuff that you can pick and try in whatever type of situation you are, that you know that there is a place where you can find some solutions. Even because oftentimes when we are stuck or when we are down, we can't think clearly. So we need other people to unstuck us. Yeah. So I hope I unstuck you. And like understanding the energetics, it's a must, especially going to the other timeline. So we are falling hard. The timelines are splitting, no joke. It's no joke. Like I feel it, like I'm floating. Honestly, it's not about I am not grounded or stuff like that. My root chakra is like I'm being held by my tail practically in the other timeline for some reason. And I still didn't figure it out, and it's extremely painful. Extremely painful. It's like imagine your hips there where you have a tail, and it's like this. And I feel constantly during the day, for past couple of days, I'm feeling constantly it's like woo, woo, like that when you are like on the not on the roller skates, like wow, like when you are wobbling a little bit, like the ground is not firm. And my daughter was telling me, I don't feel the ground, and I was like, what are you talking about? And she says, I don't feel the ground. I know it's there, I see it, but I don't feel it. So it's not just me. Our kids, consider our kids are the hybrid children. Like most of them, they are completely different species. Not the hybrids. They are different species already, because first of all, our genetics is mutated. Our genetics as well changed. It depends on your consciousness, what you brought in, how many, DNA codes did you activate it. They are already activating with you. If you are awake, those kids are activating with them. And there's another thing. If you think that most of the people who get heavily vaxxed are on the other timeline, all right? But I do not believe that it is black and white. I don't. Even though you can have like, I don't know, 4, 3, 5 vax and probably there was nothing in it, so to harm you, or your kid got one vax and you think that it's lost. No, I don't think so. It's all about you at the moment, like that you have to focus and address certain things, and maybe those people come back to you, or there was no harm whatsoever. There is all sort of things that we do not understand on this journey. And I don't believe that it is already 2:30, because I remember that I started to talk at 1 and suddenly there you go. It's 2:30. I moved the time. Okay, I have to go pick up my daughter because it was unexpected. Guys, I show up next time, but take it easy. Do the best as you can. I'm trying to put a lot of information on the web. Try to use some sound healing if you are in the pain. I still didn't figure out why I'm in the pain either. So it is gonna be a process. So I'm gonna tell you about the Jehovian field or Jehovian seal next time. Otherwise, it's in the Book of Voyagers. I was definitely like purging it up, and it was very painful, and that's for abundance. So, and the receiving, it's all on the left side, and there is a lot of pain, legs, hips, feet, ankles, blurred vision, vertigo, dizziness, support your nervous system. You know the drill. I see you next time. Bye. No.